Howdy Lake students, welcome back to the Loft. I wanted to take a few minutes and talk about our conversation from midweek last night. If you missed it last night, it was a ball. We talked about some pretty amazing women from the Bible. Jess led worship, which was really cool. We told some pretty funny Chuck Norris jokes. But we discussed this woman named Jael who ended up taking the life of a general that was causing quite a bit of havoc for the children of Israel. And the question came up, hey, didn't she kind of just commit murder? And the answer is, well, yeah, she sort of did. I wanted to go over a few things about that, hopefully give you a little bit more understanding. So for others, let's just define murder. Murder is the taking of an innocent life. Specifically, it's someone that did not deserve to die. The Old Testament defined people as of deserving of death, of folks who committed really one of 28 sins. There were 28 different sins you commit that were, the Bible would say, yeah, you deserve to die for that. Murder was obviously one of them. Adultery was another one. If you were a witch, that meant that you could be put to death. So that's pretty heavy, right? And again, there was, if you were a rebellious enough child, you could die for those sins. So that's what murder is. It's the taking of a life of someone who didn't do those things, all right? Well, what's the scoop with Jael, man? Because again, she didn't seem to fit the bill. Oh, we kind of get, okay, maybe Sisera deserved to die, but it doesn't feel like she was the right person to do that. For starters, let me just say this. Guys, a lot of times the Bible is not prescriptive, it's descriptive, especially in the Old Testament. What I mean by this is it's just telling the story of what happened and how we got to these situations that ultimately led to Jesus being here, right? There are times when God is using situations of stuff that people did. There are other times when God told people, hey, I want you to go do this thing. And sometimes we're just hearing the story, and there's neither a thumbs up from God or a thumbs down from God. Just here's what happened. And a lot of that's what happened with Jael. She played a significant portion in the freedom of the children of Israel from the Canaanites. And God doesn't say, great job, Jael. God doesn't say, bad job, Jael. She ended up in this song that I pointed out to you guys because she was a part of the story. But that wasn't them going, hey, it's awesome what she did. It was just, hey, this is part of the story, right? So the Bible is, especially in the Old Testament, it's prescriptive. It's descriptive, not prescriptive. All right. So the answer comes, all right, well, who can kill somebody? If Sisera needed to die, who was supposed to do that? Well, in that particular story, Barak was the one who was supposed to do that. He was the government agent. The government's the one that can kill people. Romans chapter 13 says explicitly that government is the hand of wrath of God against the unrighteous, which is a really heavy term, but it's just the idea when unrighteous people act, government is the institution that God has put into place to enforce the laws and ultimately carry out his judgments. That's what's going on there. So in that particular story with Sisera last night, Barak was the one who was supposed to do that, but Barak kind of got a little bit nervous about the situation. So Deborah said, hey, a woman's going to take care of this for you. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. But the way it's supposed to work now, somebody breaks the law, a police officer come and arrest them. All right. If someone is an active shooter out and about, it's supposed to be a police officer that takes care of that. That's not always the way that it plays out, but that's how it's supposed to play out. Even more specifically, though, when the government does execute someone who's broken a law, that's not murder, that's killing. In fact, you need to know this, guys. The Ten Commandments doesn't say thou shalt not kill. It says thou shalt not murder. Again, murder is the taking of the innocent life. Someone who's being executed by the government, chances are really good they're not innocent. They've committed one of those sins, or in our case, they've broken one of the laws that our government says is justifiable of the death penalty. All right, so government can carry out that. The question also came up, well, what about wars? Like, how does that play out? Well, you need to know soldiers are government agents. So when a soldier takes a shot, he takes a shot, the way it's supposed to work, he takes a shot at someone else, a bad guy, or maybe not, the bad guy's not the best way to describe it, takes a shot at the opposition, whoever it is they're fighting the war with. He does that as a result of the command of his commanding officer. If the soldier takes a bad shot and kills someone who is innocent, it's not that soldier that's held accountable for that. It's his commanding officer that told him, hey, take the shot at that person. That's the way it's supposed to play out. But soldiers are government agents. And you need to know, throughout the Old Testament in particular, God said a number of times, hey, I want you to go to war with this group of people. By the way, there's a number of U.S. presidents that went to war because they believed God told them that's what was supposed to happen. President Lincoln with the Civil War, President Truman with World War II are two really good examples of that. So the government's the one that can kill people. The other question that came up last night, well, what about self-defense? Someone breaks into my home, do I have the right to defend myself? Actually, yes, you do. Straight out of Exodus chapter 22. It says explicitly in verses 2 and 3, someone breaks into your house and you get into a fight with them and you end up killing that individual, you're not held blood guilty. Now, if someone breaks into your house and you crank your shotgun and that bad guy hears that noise and they take off and you take off chasing them down and you shoot them in the street, now you've committed murder because you're no longer defending your family. You're no longer defending yourself or your property. You've just chased them down. You've carried out vengeance, and vengeance is always wrong. Vengeance is the opposite of justice and how the government is supposed to interact those things. All right. Do you have the opportunity or even the responsibility to defend other people in those situations? Yes, but it needs to be measured. So if you're at school and somebody slaps one of your friends, you don't get to pull out a gun and shoot that person. That's not a measured response. But if you're at Walmart and someone else is being held at gunpoint and you happen to have a gun on you and you shoot the bad guy who's holding the other individual at gunpoint, you are justified in that shot. Now, is it better to let a government agent handle that? Absolutely. That's the way that's supposed to work out. There's not always an opportunity for that, though. You don't always have time to call 911. Those situations are rare, but it is possible that you could be justified in those actions. But generally speaking, let the police handle it. Hope that makes sense. So then it comes down to this question. Okay, well, it seems like God is cool with a lot of different killing because there's wars and defending yourself and the government taking people out. And it might feel that way, but I want you to bring you back to what the scriptures actually says. Number one, Jesus talks about how seriously he takes murder. The taking of innocent life is a big deal to him. In fact, so much to the point that he actually talks to us about controlling our anger. In Matthew chapter 5, he says, you've heard it said that people who commit murder are due the judgment, but I tell you that someone who is angry in their heart is also due the judgment. The idea is this: if you're so angry in your heart that you feel like you could go commit murder, again, for vengeance or whatever, you're guilty. You need to repent of that. Well, why would Jesus say that? Well, go back to the Old Testament. Remember Cain and Abel? Cain was someone that got mad at his brother because God said, I like your sacrifice, I don't like your sacrifice. And Cain killed Abel. And God even came to Cain and said, dude, like before he killed Abel, he said, dude, you need to repent because sin is crouching at your door and it's going to overcome you. But Cain didn't. He killed his brother. Jesus comes back in the New Testament and says, man, if you're so angry in your heart, chances are exceptionally good you're going to end up doing something that you will regret. You're going to end up committing another sin. So you need to repent of that sin, of that anger. Even if the anger is justified, repent of that because, remember, God has set up agencies to take care of those sins. Where vengeance, and vengeance is not the right word there. Justice is the right word. When justice needs to happen, God set up the agencies to do that. But the final thing you need to know is this: is God takes no joy in the death of the wicked. None. In fact, it says explicitly in Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 11, it says, God takes no joy in the death of the unrighteous. Why? Chances are really good the unrighteous, when they die, they go to hell. And God takes no joy in people going to hell. So we should take no joy in people going to hell either. It's understandable why we feel relieved, maybe even feel better when someone dies, but we just need to know that God's heart is not like, I'm excited about that death. He's not. It grieves him. Part of our heart should grieves too. Guys, I love y'all. I love that you ask questions. I hope that you'll keep asking questions. Thanks for hanging with me to the end of this video, and I can't wait to see you Sunday morning or Wednesday night. Bye.